welcome to the Lyman Wolf Podcast. I am your host, Raceland, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Nate.
Howdy.
And on today's podcast, we're going to be talking about anime swap. What I mean is that we each pick an anime that we like and make the other person watch and review it. This was my pick for the subject matter because I know we both love anime. I figured we'd pick like some short animes, like a 12-episode anime, so it's not too long, not like One Piece where there's like over 1,000 episodes. We just pick a little short anime and make the other person watch it and then review it.
Yeah, not too short like my favorite anime, Golden Boy, which is only 6 episodes.
Yeah, there's a reason why it's only 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Because nobody likes it. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I've yet to meet personally, I've yet to meet a fan of it, so...
You've told me about Golden Boy so many times when I first met you, and I was like, who has ever heard of this anime? This is like an unknown anime that no one's ever heard of.
I have seen people online comment about it, but yeah, it is relatively probably not that like...
People are like, is Golden Boy like Dragon Ball?
And really, like... yeah.
We're not here to talk about Golden Boy. We're not here to talk about Golden Boy.
Successfully hijacked.
So I gave Nate an anime that I really enjoy, and it's called My Dress Up Darling. It's a pretty popular slice of life style anime. And so we're going to go ahead and start with you getting into your thoughts on My Dress Up Darling.
All right. So first off, I'll go ahead and give the rating so you can get a general idea of where I'm standing on this. So overall rating, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10.
Oh, that's pretty high. I was expecting like, here comes the hate.
Oh no, first off, the anime has to be really horrible for it to even get to a 5. Because if it gets to a 5 for me, I'm going to start breaking down exactly what I don't like about this and just looking for things to hate. This one, not so much. There was a few things that I was like, could have done without because of personal preferences.
So real quick, before we even break it down, are you into slice of life animes?
Sort of.
And why don't you explain what a slice of life anime is to the listeners?
So, I could be wrong. The way I see slice of life animes are basically just animes that don't really have a action or mystery or anything like that. It's basically just following the life of one or a few characters.
Most of the time it's like a love story.
Yeah, going throughout their lives. They do usually have romance in them simply because, they have to have something in it to kind of go with it.
Yeah, if you have a slice of life, it's just following a life and he's just sitting at home playing video games. It's kind of a boring anime.
Yeah, well, not really boring because it's just a different taste.
Right.
Because I could definitely see someone wanting to watch something like that just to kind of relax while doing something else.
I feel like most people want the drama. Like human beings want drama, so they want that love story.
Yeah, that's why you have like previous podcast we talked about killing Sims characters. Sims should be a perfectly easy game to play, but killing off characters, we want drama. We have to have something happen to characters.
Look at like shows like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. That's just literally drama.
So for this one, overall rating, I gave it an 8 out of 10. It had good comedy, interesting premise, good art style, and a lovely romance building. It did a pretty good job of building up romance without making it over the top or making the characters over the top in the romance direction. Because there's a lot of animes, especially one of my biggest, well, not like biggest guys, but when a male character does something that might be perceived as perverted or something, or purely by accident, and then gets the living snot beat out of him for it. Like, I hate that because the guy didn't do anything on purpose. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna do that. No, it was
looking at you. Looking at you, love Rue too.
Yeah. Never watched the anime, but I did read the manga for quite a while.
I've read the whole manga. Yes.
But yeah, so stuff like that kind of annoys me a little. Didn't used to, but as I got older, it was like, oh man, that poor guy didn't do anything. He didn't deserve that beating.
I feel
But
like
this one didn't do
this
that.
is bringing out a slice of you, Nate.
Yeah. A lot of romance stuff includes that kind of thing. This didn't do that, which I was pretty happy. The most that happened is like she would get embarrassed and like playfully hit his shoulder with her fist, but not like actual hitting, just kind of like playfully, like, ah, no, you're embarrassing me, kind of thing. Uh, so yeah, that was a plus in my mind. So I took some notes going through the episodes.
You broke down the episodes?
No, not all of them.
Oh.
And it's not like I broke down the episode. It's just like points in the episodes. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a comment about this. So for example, the first episode, we hear some inner monologue about Gojo when
That's the main. Gojo's the main character.
yeah, the male protagonist, and then the female protagonist is Marin. Marin. Okay. So Gojo, his inner monologue talks about how when he stays after class to help to clean the classroom, and the two others that are supposed to be doing it leave, his inner monologue is like, I'm kind of glad they left because I'm not good with people, and I feel like I would be socially making them uncomfortable because of my awkwardness.
That sounds familiar.
And so he'd rather just be alone, do the job, get the job done, and not inconvenience anybody.
That sounds like a certain wolf I know.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, this is like super hitting home. Because that is almost verbatim my thoughts on socializing.
That's one of the reasons why I picked this anime, because I'm like, dude, you are the main character.
Yeah, I will say, I'm not like, the socializing aspect is pretty much the only thing I have in common with this character.
You mean you're not a doll maker?
No, I have a fear of dolls, actually.
I know. It's just another reason I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, so this character, I do, like, on a socializing level, I'm like, oh man, I understand you, bro. But also, when someone actually reaches out and forces him to be their friend, or kind of makes it, like, not leaves him alone, that's when it's like, okay, yeah, again, I'm not very good at making friends because I don't want to inconvenience people. So when someone does that, kind of reminds me of you, Raceland.
Yeah, explain how we became friends.
Yeah, you saw me reading manga and you started talking about manga to me, and I was reading,
and you were just
manga.
Like, "Who is this guy? Go away!" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I like that anime. Let's be friends."
So I'm not very good at doing that myself. So when others do that with me, like, it helps out a lot when it comes to socializing, just like with Gojo and Marin.
I don't have a problem talking to strangers at all.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a problem with talking to strangers. It's keeping a connection with people. I lack that.
Hey, you're lucky I remember your name, because, like, I could be like, "Oh, hi, my name is Raceland. You're so-and-so." And then I walk away. Literally 4 seconds later, I've already forgotten their name.
That's hilarious. So then into the second episode, I gotta give Gojo some props. The second episode really goes into fan service. Like,
does
to
it?
the extreme.
This anime has fan service? That's weird.
Yeah.
You want to explain what fan service is?
Fan service is a gratuity of sexual situations or hint of sexual situations.
Nah, not in this anime.
And not even like sexual situations. It could just be a flash of breasts, anything really, thigh, anything that's found attractive.
You mean like when he has to measure her?
Yes. And that's the point though, is Gojo is a professional. I'll grant him this. Not professional as he gets him paid, but professional mindset. Because yes, he's extremely attracted to her, but he's like, no, she's trusting me to get this done.
Real
I
quick,
will
before we
do
get any
this.
further, explain what he's doing. Explain what the plot is, because people might
Okay.
not know what this is.
Yeah. So the plot of the whole anime is that Gojo, the maker of dolls, is scouted by Marin when she discovers that he knows how to sew to make her cosplay costumes.
And what is cosplay?
Cosplay is dressing up as characters in specific fandoms.
Most of the time,
so-
it's like anime, video games, comic books, stuff like that.
Comic book, yeah. But it can be anything. You can even have OC cosplay, original characters. So, but for the most part, it's dressing up as specific characters from certain media.
Yeah. So in this anime, Marin, the female lead, is really into some video game, and she wants to dress up as one of the characters in the video game, and she has Gojo make costumes for her.
Not just any video game, though.
Yes.
An eroji video game, which is basically a sex dating simulator.
Like I said, there's no fan service in this.
And like Gojo, again, going into his professionalism in this, plays the entire game purely to study. And how we know it's purely to study it, it's because his grandpa walks in on him as he's playing the game, and he's just taking notes. He's just like measuring the dress and all these different angles from this character.
The grandpa's
While
like,
they're-
oh no, I caught my grandson masturbating. He's like, oh wait, what is he doing?
He's not hunched over doing something like that. He's taking notes. What? And then like there's moaning coming from the television as something's happening on screen that we can't see. Like it. This guy is dedicated to getting the right measurements for his craft. Which is one of the aspects that I love in a main character, when he can put aside his horniness or like whatever kind of
Feelings.
vice for his professionalism. That's one of the reasons why I love Golden Boy. It reminds me so much of that character.
We're not talking about Good Boy.
No, I know. I'm just saying Gojo would have been perfect in that.
It's
So-
one of the reasons why I picked this anime, because I thought you'd relate so hard to the main character.
So this character plays these games and gets all of these measurements to the point where a professional cosplayer is extremely impressed with his work and wants him to work on her own cosplay.
Oh yes.
So yeah, the whole premise is this socially awkward guy gets scouted by a woman who wants to cosplay in order for them, and he's like, yeah, that's my new goal. I'm going to make cosplay costumes for her and a friend that they meet later on. So in the second episode, in order to do that, to his perfect standards, he has to measure her body. And so that's pretty much the whole episode, is just a bunch of fan service by him having to do all these measurements and trying to suppress his horniness.
And he's like, oh no,
because-
I'm going to get the best measurements if you take most of your clothes off.
Yeah, and then he's like, but I will say, again, professionalism. He's like, you may not want me to do this. Like, you may want to go get a female friend of yours to get these measurements for you, because I don't want like you to be embarrassed. He's fully putting his client forefront
She's just like, do it. Just measure me.
of all. Yeah, she has no problem. She's just like,
Oh, I'm half
What?
naked right now? Oh, well, like, just get my measurements. I
doesn't-
want my costume.
that actually comes to another point where she just seems to be completely oblivious to any attraction stuff. Like, she is fixated on the weirdest aspects of what to be embarrassed about.
Which is so
Because-
funny, because the character Marin is supposed to be like this, like, popular, preppy, like, all about the school kind of girl. What's the term they use in anime? It's like gyro or something.
I don't know how to pronounce it, but that is
But it's
pretty close.
It's basically like think of, she's like the main cheerleader in a high school.
I
And-
don't think that's what that means, though. But
Well, I'm trying to, people that might not know those terms. I'm trying to give them.
No, I'm saying with that term, I don't think that's the term.
But think of her as like the really popular girl, and then everyone's
Yeah.
like, "Oh man, she must have boys lined up everywhere, and she's probably so popular." And then she's like into the weirdest crap of like, "Oh no, I'm actually really into this like sexual video game, and I can't wait to cosplay as the main character."
She definitely goes into being blowing his expectations out of the water. Because yes, she is the most popular girl in the school, if I remember correctly. Him saying
For the
like,
most
"Oh,
part,
she's
yeah.
yeah." But the reason she is that is because she is who she is. She doesn't pretend to be anything else. She's like, "I like this. If you don't like it, get out. I don't care. Like whatever." So it doesn't let her negatively impact her social life. And her friends respect her for that, it seems.
Yeah.
So, like, one of the episodes where he goes to see her, I think it's actually episode 7. The entire anime, we see her with red eyes, which is a common thing in anime for characters to have odd colored eyes. Like, you'll have red, purple, silver, all these different colored eyes.
Same thing with hair.
Yeah. This anime, I actually really enjoyed this little like bit that they did is he knocks on her door, she answers it, and she's in a towel. Like I guess
First
she
of all,
just
who answers the door in a towel?
I mean, people do. Especially if
I
they're
only see that in TV shows, man.
especially if they're in a rush. It just make sure the towel's secure. Like nothing's gonna happen.
In today's world, it's just like you pull up your security camera and you talk to them and say, "Hey, I'm getting ready. I'll be there in a second."
So she answers in a towel, still covered in water from, I guess, getting out of the shower. And so he's like her in her glory, and he's just like, oh my god, he's being super embarrassed and shy, and he's like, oh no. And then she's like, what's he doing? But then she looks in the mirror and she realizes she's not wearing contacts. She has brown eyes. And so the reason why she has red eyes throughout the entire series is that she wears red eye contacts. And I'm like, okay, that I like that. Like, she is a cosplayer. This addresses the fact that, yeah, anime characters have various different eye colors. So if this anime is set in a real world situation with anime as a premise, then yeah, I like that. That was a nice little detail to add. But she freaks out like he just saw her naked, but instead it's because he saw her without her red colored lenses.
Oh no.
Yeah, like that's what she freaks out about. Not the fact that she's naked under a towel and he's like, oh no, like she's super hot. She freaks out because of her eyes. Like, that was cute. I was like, okay, that's fine. So back to the list of the episodes. One of the things, I feel so bad for the grandpa because he just keeps like, he's like, what is this younger generation? Because first it's the video game and he's like, oh, okay, that whatever, that I guess he's at that age. He's taking notes. What? Like, not that, didn't do that at my age. That's weird. And then he sees his son with stocking. His grandson with stockings. And that, like, just messed with him so much that he jumped, fell, and hurt himself. They had to rush him to the hospital.
I forgot about that part.
And then when he's recuperating, he is staying with his son, and I don't know if it's his daughter-in-law or if it's his granddaughter. They never really say who the girl is that came to get the grandpa at the hospital. They just know each other.
Right.
And then she lives with his son-in-law, so I don't know if it's the wife of the son-in-law, so the daughter-in-law, or if it's the daughter that just hasn't moved out or anything. And while he's there, he then comes back home to find his grandson with two girls, one super hot and the other a lolly.
Explain what that is, Nate.
Lolly is a representation of a woman that looks younger than she appears. Usually very young. Very prominent in anime and manga and crap like that. That was one of my bigger things I didn't like about this.
Yeah, she looked very young, and she was actually like 23 or something like that.
Yeah, well, she is, I think, a year older than the rest of the Gojo and Marin.
Oh, okay.
But she has a sister who looks like she's 20, but she is, I think, she was in middle school. I don't really know Japan's age when it comes to school grades like we do here.
And
I'm pretty sure it is different.
And not only that, but anime really likes to make their people exaggerate their looks for their age. Like, you could have someone who's 13 and they look like they're 35.
And then have someone who's thousands of years old and look like they're 12. So it is. That was my only
anime logic.
Yeah, but other than that, that's pretty much the only negative of this entire anime that I had. I will say this anime invested a lot in jiggle physics.
What the hell is jibble physics?
Jiggle physics is the animation of breasts moving. They went crazy with it. They just. Dang.
This is a fan service anime, basically.
Yeah, it is. Dressed up in a very good story. I really did enjoy this story.
Cute little love story.
Yeah. Man, I would be hard pressed to be able to suggest this to somebody at work, because I do have some people who ask me about anime, hey, what would you recommend? I'm like, oh yeah, I'd recommend it. This one I'd be like,
do you like fan service?
I would suggest this one because it is a very cute love story, and I really do like the characters in it. But the amount of fan service, I have had people complain about that kind of thing with other anime. So I'm like, I don't know if I'd be able to recommend this one, which is a shame. But still, whatever. It's anime. Anime does do fan service a lot.
Well, it is a very popular anime. This is one of the most popular love story animes there is.
I can understand that.
Well,
I really did enjoy this.
Yeah, it sounds like you enjoyed the anime, so that's good. I'm glad I got a win.
Yeah, the last thing I have to actually say about this is, or two things actually. One is an art style detail that I really liked about the entire anime. Background art style, which usually a lot of anime that I've seen can just kind of do generic kind of blurry backgrounds. This anime put a lot of thought in a lot of their background art. So they went into heavy detail in the background art style, which, as I'd like to dabble in art and drawing and whatnot, I haven't done it in a while, but it is something I notice and enjoy.
Yeah.
This was very good for that. I liked that a lot. The art style was amazing.
It definitely was a good art style.
And then the last little point of it is just her pure unawareness of how she physically affects Gojo is how can anyone be that just ignorant, I guess, to not know how she affects him until she starts to have feelings for him. That's when she starts realizing, oh, I'm actually affecting him. Okay, let's use this.
Don't go too much into spoilers because people might want to watch this.
Well, no, like we've already said, it is a love story, so there is love in this. So yeah, it's just without all the fan service, it would be a very wholesome anime. With the fan service, it's a very wholesome storyline.
We don't want that. Keep the fan. People aren't going to see this for the story.
Yeah, the storyline is just very wholesome, and I do like a very wholesome anime.
Yeah, it's really good. So that moves on to the pick that you picked for me. What was that, Nate?
Love After World Domination.
What made you want to pick this?
So I had watched this recently, actually. It is also kind of a love slice of life kind of thing, but
Yep.
wrapped in a particular bow that I was like, oh, knowing Raceland, he would probably really like this. So for anyone who doesn't know, Love After World Domination is basically a Power Rangers
Yeah,
fantasy.
I'm about to get into all that.
Oh, okay. So yeah, go ahead and take it off, buddy.
Yeah, so this anime, it's literally just anime Power Rangers, like Nate said. It's just, I started it out. I didn't see a trailer. I had no idea what this was about. It was just like, Nate recommended it. I'm gonna watch it. So I started watching it. And first scene is just like this Red Ranger sitting there with some like blonde chick on a field saying like, "I love you." And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then, like, you see in the background, like, these, like, explosions and fighting with, like, monsters and Power Ranger looking crazy. I'm like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, it is. It was a pretty fun anime that I really did like, and I was like, okay, I think Raisin's gonna enjoy this.
Yeah,
one.
it's basically, from everything I saw on it, it's just like a Power Rangers Romeo and Juliet story. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, it's just, we can't be together because of the social standards of the world. We can't have a scandal of... So, the main character is the Red Gelato, which is the Red Ranger.
Yeah. So all of the Rangers are named after gelato.
Which I think is absolutely hilarious. Because they all have, like... They all have, like, these, like... The power of flavor! The power of this! I'm just like, what
Yeah, their super moves are all flavors.
Which I think is hilarious. But so they have the red, the Gelato Force, I guess they're called.
Gelato 5.
Gelato 5, yes, the Gelato 5, which are the Power Rangers, and then they're fighting the evil Ghetto. That's the name of the organization, the Ghetto.
I think it's Gecko.
Gecko, that's it, not Ghetto, Gecko. Yeah, so the evil Gecko, which is literally just like, if you like Power Rangers, it's like Rita and her, like, force.
Yeah, her minions.
Yeah, it's run by this, like, evil guy who's just like, world domination! That's all it is. It doesn't get any further past that.
He's basically Street Fighter's Bison.
Yeah, he's just like, what's your goal in life? Domination. World domination. Yeah. It's like, nothing past that. So he has all these, like, minions, and, like, the minions, even in the anime, like, their goal is to lose? Like, they made a they made a whole episode about the main female's father who's like, I have mastered the art of losing.
Yeah.
What?
It's basically like the minions are hype men. They don't want to defeat the Rangers.
Do it. You got this.
Yeah, they don't want to defeat the Rangers, so they look for ways to make the leaders look better by losing spectacularly to the Rangers.
So stupid. Speaking of the leaders, so you got the big boss who's just world domination, and then like he's got like these other underlings, which they're called the princesses.
There are two tiers. You have the Animal Force, and then you have the princesses.
I'll get into Animal Force because I got a whole thing about that. So the princesses is who we're going to look at first, because the princesses are who the main character is. She is the Reaper princess.
Her name is
Decimi. Yeah, so it's Red Gelato, which his name is Fudo, and the Reaper princess, whose name is Decimi. Those are the two main characters in the love story. And they're supposed to be mortal rivals who are just destined to fight till the end of time, basically, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Classic Power Ranger stuff. And they fall in love. So they're just like, oh, no, I love her. I could never hurt her. She is my one true love. But I can't be with her in the public eye, so we have to keep it secret. And it's hilarious because they'll be all holding hands and all lovey-dovey and all, like, hanging on each other, cutesy, and then, like, one of the gelatos will show up and be like, Red Gelato, do you need our help? And he'll instantly put his helmet on, and they're like, I will take you down, and then they'll fight, and it's just like, why can't they just be the public eye? It's hilarious. It's just like the same thing with the Reaper. They'll, like, one of the monster guys will show up and like, Reaper Princess, we are here for backup, and she like throws her helmet on and is like, I will defeat you, scum of the earth, and then like throws like a barrage of punches, and he's just like, oh, I love
Yeah, he takes those hits.
and he's just like, I love you so much. Blah!
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny because it's just hilarious that they're not supposed to be together, but they keep this facade up. And like I said, the flavors are just hilarious. Like each one has their. What was the green one? It was like the power of pistachios.
Yes. He is the Pistachio Ranger.
It's a pistachio power activate. It's just like, what is this? So that brings me to the beast
Princess.
Not princesses, the monster people.
Oh yeah, the upgraded monsters.
Yeah, so apparently you can get quote unquote upgraded to become a monster. So you're like, I guess like a hybrid of a human and a monster?
So do you remember the hierarchy of the organization?
No.
All right, so the hierarchy is the main leader, that's like world domination. Then you have the evolved monsters, and then you have the princesses, and then you have the minions. The princesses
that's right.
are like, they are princesses in the hopes that they will be evolved into monsters.
Right. And that's the whole thing, is that there's an entire episode where the main princess, what's her name again?
Destiny.
Destiny. There's a scene, I'm not going to get too much into spoilers, but there's a scene where like she has the opportunity to be upgraded to a monster, and she's like, oh no, that'll affect my love with Fudo. I can't do that.
I love the fact, because when you become evolved into a monster, they pick an animal for you to merge with, and the animal they pick for her just cracks me up.
Yeah, they're like, she's like,
it.
okay, maybe I can make it work. I can just like be like some kind of like beautiful animal. And they're like, gorilla. No.
It's funny because there's a bunny monster on. She's like, well, she's cute. Like, maybe I'll be a cute monster lady. And then they're like, gorilla, and all of a sudden the cute mental image she has turns into just
shatters.
Destiny. And she's just like, no.
Yeah. And that brings me to the princesses. So each one, there's like multiple different princesses. There's like, there's the Steel Princess, there's the Beast Princess. There's 6 princesses. There's a bunch of different princesses, and they each have their own role. Obviously, the Beast Princess is like a primal looking, like, I'm a brawler type, and the Steel one uses her powers like summon metal tendrils and stuff like that.
And she like surrounds herself in an Iron Maiden.
Yeah, so each one has their own personality. It's kind of one-dimensional, to be honest. And
it's kind of like, it's meant to be that way because they're all side characters.
Right.
They're not meant to have too much depth.
Yeah, it's the focus is the love story. That is the entire premise of this episode, of this anime.
Yeah.
And I think, speaking of the Beast Princess, I kind of feel bad for the Beast Princess because the entire time she just thinks Destiny, the Reaper Princess, is just like this most badass princess. Like, nothing can defeat her. And the entire time, she just wants to hang out with Fudo. Like, she's like, she sees her in her normal, like, school clothes, and she sees her hanging out with, like, all lovey-dovey with Fudo, and she's like, oh my god, she's infiltrated their ranks. She's so badass. Like, I can't believe she's going into a stealth mission. The entire time, she's just hanging out with her boyfriend.
So, most of the princesses are in high school, and they all attend the same high school. Except for one, the Blood Princess, who is the nurse of that high school.
Oh, the Blood Princess is so weird.
Yeah, she has like
she has a very big weird fetish, and I can't stand it.
Yeah, it is. She basically babies and wants to be the mommy of everybody.
Yeah.
To the extreme.
I guess we're not holding back on spoilers, but okay.
I mean, you gave a spoiler about Destiny being a gorilla.
Yeah.
possibly.
Oh well.
Like,
It's still
So-
it's a great anime. I definitely enjoyed this anime for sure.
yeah. So what did you think about the Heat Princess?
The Heat, is that the one that's in love with the weird. So okay, since spoilers are not a big deal anymore, there's an entire episode where this like red-haired chick is like caught Decimi and Fudo together and like sent like blackmail to Fudo and was like, "Hey, I know everything. If you don't want this leaked, meet me in the park." So he goes to the park and he's like, "Oh my god, how do I stop the scandal from getting out?" And she's like, "Ha ha 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 ha. Do what I say, be my slave, or I will leak this." He's like, "I have one demand. Do not put a censor over Decimi's face so she is not ridiculed into the public." She's like, wait, no, don't you care about your reputation? It's like, no, my reputation goes to hell. Fine. If I lose everything, that's fine. Protect Decimi's image. It's like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? It's like, you know what? That's it. I don't care. My first demand is break up with her. I refuse. Do you not understand where you're at right now? I'm going to ruin your guys' life. Break up with her. No. God damn it. It's like the whole thing is just like she wants them to break up, and so like later on Fudo's explaining to Decimi like this is what happened. She's like, "Oh, Decimi, don't you see what's happening? She's in love with you." He's like, oh, I didn't even take her feelings into account. I'll meet up with her again and explain that I don't have those same feelings. And so he meets up and he's like, I'm sorry. I don't feel the same way. She's like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm in love with Decimi. And he's like, what? So the entire time it's just like this. She's like a lesbian, totally in love with Decimi. And that's the whole thing. It turns out she's a Reaper princess. So it's like, they never explain where that goes.
And none of the princesses know that she's the princess because she wears a full-on like mass hazmat like suit. They've never seen her.
Which brings me to one of my points. There's an episode where they have like a sleepover, like a pajama party kind of sleepover with all the princesses.
Mm-hmm.
And which princess? The Heat Princess, which is the red-haired who's in love with Decimi. She's wearing just like pajamas with like a giant metal helmet on, and she's like fawning over Decimi, laying in her lap, clinging to her arm, and Decimi just kind of like, oh well, that's normal. Why? Well, if you think so, I would be like,
okay,
get off of me.
To be fair, normal is thrown out the window with all of these characters. Like nothing is normal about any of these characters. The other thing is, with that organization, I guess it's like kind of understood to just kind of respect everyone's quirks. And I guess they just consider Heat Princess's quirk to be wearing the helmet and being just a very touchy-feely person. And they just never realized it's only with Decimi.
That's just it's so funny.
It is hilarious. Just the whole series. It is a great series.
Another thing I thought was really funny was that so if you don't know, Decimi has like this ungod strength. Like she's so goddamn strong. Yeah. To the point where it's like she closed and they did a flashback where she joined this like karate dojo at age 7, and they're all taught like all these like teenage masters and even like the dojo master himself all get defeated by the 7-year-old, to the point where they're like, oh, we have to shut the dojo down because my honor was destroyed by getting beaten by a 7-year-old. And I think it's hilarious that the green gelato apparently was a teenager that dojo, met Decimi, and was like, oh, look at this cute girl. I can't let her dreams be shattered. I will train her. Immediately gets destroyed by this 7-year-old girl and was like, no, I can't shatter her like hopes to be stronger. I'll just take the beating. And so like all through middle school, he like just like spars with her and was like, Oh, what's the green gelato's name? I forget his name.
I think it's like it starts with D.
Anyway,
I think Daigo.
yeah. Anyway, so it's like Decime as a little girl is like, "Oh, Daigo, you took it easy on me again," and he's over there broken in a heap on the floor, like, "Yeah, yeah, I didn't want to upset my pupil," like dying basically.
And yeah,
And so, like, flash forward into present time when Decime and Red Gelato Fudo, they're dating. Green Gelato's like, "Oh my god, she's back. I never thought she'd come to Tokyo. This is a nightmare. Fudo, you have to break up with her." Like, no, what? No, I'm not breaking up with my girlfriend. Like, no, trust me, she's a Reaper. She's terrifying. Like, you have to break up with her. She's a monster.
He does not know she's a Reaper.
Yeah, which is hilarious. He calls her a Reaper of his past, but does not understand that she's the actual Reaper princess.
Yeah, like Decime and Fudo both can publicly date to a degree, because I think most of the Rangers eventually like kind of accept that Fudo's with Decime. They just don't realize
because Decime, when she's in her Reaper outfit, has a mask over her face, so people don't like recognize her.
Skull with bunny ears.
Yeah, which is, but like the rest for the Gelatos, everybody in the world knows who they are. Like, their identity is known to everybody.
Yeah,
like, oh, that's Fudo from the Red Gelato from the
they even have sponsorships.
Yeah. So everybody knows who they are. But since Gecko is quote unquote the evil corporation, they all wear like masks to hide their identity. And so they're just like, "Oh no, he has a new girlfriend. That's cute. She's just this cute little high school girl," not knowing she's the Reaper princess who is their mortal enemy. So yeah, I just thought that was really funny how Green Gelato's like, "My nightmare has returned. You have to break up with your girlfriend." And the last tidbit I have, there is only one negative I have with this, and maybe you'll explain it to me. I guess, like I said, spoilers are out the window. So they never explain that they can be together in public eye. Like, so the anime just ends.
Yeah.
With it's just like, oh, that's the ending, but the love is still hidden.
Yeah, the anime itself basically covered like the first couple of chapters of the manga. The manga is still going, I think.
It's another one of those. Come on, man.
But I do believe this anime was pretty popular, so I'm in the hopes that it will get a second season.
I might actually have to like tune into the
manga
to catch up.
You will not be disappointed. It is like, I like the anime. It was great seeing all of it in color and seeing or hearing the voices and all that stuff. The manga just like it brought tears to my eyes from laughing so much a lot of the time.
Yeah, so I actually, whenever I watch an anime, I have a whole list on my phone of like ranking all of my animes. And I put this anime at number 15 out of 54.
That's good.
So okay. it's pretty high. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like, I really enjoyed this anime. It's just because it was a shorter anime, it didn't have time to build up as much as I wanted it to, unlike some other animes that are lasted for like hundreds and hundreds of episodes that have tons of character arcs and builds and stuff.
So quick question. What did you think about Decime's family?
So weird, dude. Like, you got the dad who's just this glorified minion, and then you got the sister with a weird sister obsession. Like,
yeah, well, so first, I don't know if they explain it in the anime. In the manga, I think they briefly mention it. Her mom and dad both worked for Gecko.
Yeah, I knew that.
In the anime, it shows that the dad did. I don't remember if it said
the mom was only in one scene.
Yeah,
and it was a flashback.
They never say what role the mom was in Gecko, so I'm wondering if maybe if she was a foot soldier herself, like the dad was, and they're like, "Oh, our daughter is becoming a princess." Like, the dad's super, super happy that his daughter is one of the princesses.
Right.
But I wonder if the mom was a princess as well, because I'm not gonna lie, I would love to see just a chapter or so, or an episode of them doing like a prequel of showing Desimee's parents when they were young meeting
That
and
would be
being like,
hilarious.
yeah, like that would be great. And then find like again, this is purely speculation on my part, but finding out if the mom is secretly like she roots for the gelatos.
That would be so funny.
And that's where Decimee gets the liking of the gelatos from.
I don't know, but I definitely enjoyed this anime. I highly recommend both of these animes. They're both on they're both on Crunchyroll. If you have Crunchyroll, they're both dubbed, so you don't have to read subtitles if you're not into that. And yeah, I highly recommend both these. They were both very good animes.
Yeah, I rate them both equally, 8 out of 10.
That's about where I put both of them. I'd probably put My Dress Up Darling a little higher because I like the love story more in that anime. But I love the Power Ranger aesthetic of this anime.
Whereas for me, it's slightly opposite. They're both ranked the same, but likewise or liking wise, World or Love After World Domination's a little bit higher, simply because of the comedy aspect.
The comedy. I do love the comedy aspect of the anime for sure.
A lot
of scenes. There's a lot of scenes where I literally just like paused it. I just started laughing. I was like, "What in the world?"
Like story wise, My Dress Up Darling is a little bit better. Comedy wise, Love After World Domination is a little bit better, but they're both about equal in terms of everything else.
Yeah.
Except, I will say art style, I would go with Dress Up Darling probably.
Yeah, the art style's a little. I don't know. Actually, I think I would go World Domination because I like the art style of like the bright colors and stuff.
The reason I would say My Dress Up Darling's art style is a little bit better is the detail they put in. Like I said, the backgrounds. Love After World Domination is one of those where they just kind of do generic backgrounds because they're not really worried about that kind of thing.
They're focusing on the main characters.
Yeah, they're just doing story. Everything else is background. My Dress Up Darling just put a little bit more effort into the art style of everything around it, which I liked.
Yeah. So we're coming to the end of the podcast. Before I do, we actually have a couple of comments. One is on our Facebook page. I made a post about how if you have any recommendations for animes, like maybe if we do this again, we can use some of the recommendations. And we got one from Cody on the Facebook page. I'm going to butcher how to pronounce this. It's called Boofuri. Bofuri. Boofuri. Is that how you say it?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but he recommends that anime for us.
And, okay.
And then we had... go ahead.
It's the anime where it's a girl that puts all of her stats into defense and becomes like the ultimate tank.
Okay, so it's like a little girl. It's like an action anime.
Yeah, I think so, with comedy mixed in, I think.
That sounds cool. And then on Twitter, I posted the same thing, and we got a tweet from Alex, who recommends the anime Fruits Basket.
Okay, that's one I've heard before.
I had never heard of it, and I had to look it up, but it looks pretty interesting.
I liked, because I'm a big fan of transformations and stuff, and love. So it being a love manga and anime, I didn't watch the anime. I think I read a few chapters of the manga back in high school.
Well, maybe if we do this again, we could pick those two animes for us to watch.
Yeah. I'll take Fruits Basket if you take both.
You took that real quick, didn't you?
Yeah. Transformations, man. It's my jam.
Well, that brings us to the end of the podcast. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you're interested in more content, you can check out my Linktree, which shows all of our other accounts. If you like this, please think about liking and subscribing. If you're interested in talking about our upcoming topics, please join us in our Discord and our Facebook page. You can also check out the Twitter, which is down in the links. What's up, Nate?
All right, we have a recommendation from Ty on Discord, and it is Neon Genesis Evangelion. He's been trying to get me to watch that.
I forgot all about that. I'm sorry. But yeah, I don't know anything about that anime.
I've watched quite a bit of it. He's been wanting me to finish it for a long time. I'll let you make your own opinions on it. He knows how I feel about it.
Well, thank you guys for all your suggestions. And like I said, check out all the links in below. And we'll see you guys on the next podcast.